We are now going to begin 17 minutes of silence. Thank you all for coming. Now, before you go to class, I would like to say a few words. First off, thank you to the California Attorney General Becerra, State Senate Kevin De Leon, and other politicians, administrators, teachers, and fellow students for coming together today. McClatchy High School is proud to unite the community, the nation, and the world in an unprecedented demonstration of unity to bring global awareness of the pressing need for school safety and gun control. Enough is enough. Today, we honor the 17 lives lost in Parkland. We will not forget. We honor all victims of school and mass shootings nationwide, from Columbine, Sandy Hook, San Bernardino, Las Vegas to Kentucky, and the other countless shootings, too many to name them all. Again, enough is enough. What more needs to happen to make change? Safety in schools is not a privilege, it is our right. We insist this right. And we need everyone's support to make our schools, community, and world a safer place. Our message doesn't stop here or today. It stops when new laws are made to ensure our safety and right to come to school and learn and be kids without fear. Thank you. And here is Principal Lambert with a few words.
Good morning, students and staff. I just want to again compliment all of our students for coming together in unity and solidarity with all other students across this great nation and for standing up for what you believe. I am truly inspired by the youth of our country and also by all McClatchy Lions for your leadership in this event today. Thank you again. After a few short speeches, we will return back to class momentarily. Please give all the speakers your undivided attention. Thank you.
Now here is fellow student and organizer Maya Steinhardt.
Hello. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today. Today, we stand in solidarity with the students of Parkland and the demands that they have made on our nation in order to create safer schools and communities. Our silence today speaks louder than any words ever can. Our silence represents those that have been lost to absolutely unnecessary violence. It is not too much to ask, or even a deeply political or divisive question, to ask for our schools to be safe. Students every day come to get an education, but instead are faced with threats and fear of violence on their campus. Today, we make the demand that that fear ends. We make the demand that we institute reasonable gun laws that ban assault rifles, that ban bump stocks, that raise the limit. That raise the age limit for who can buy weapons and create reasonable background check standards so that those who are dangerous with firearms are not in possession of them. For all of the students that are still here, there has been a line set up where you can text to pre-register to vote, and that is the best way that students can make change. This is one of the rare instances where you will be asked to take out your phones on school campus. Please do so now and text LIONS to 38383. I will repeat, text LIONS to 38383 to become pre-registered to vote. Voting for elected officials that will create and demand the demands that we are making today is the best way to realize this movement. I will leave you with this. Saturday, March 24th, is the March for Our Lives, from Crocker Park to the Capitol. please come out and continue this message across the nation. We are Sacramento. We are the capital of one of the biggest states in the union. We are McClatchy. We are the biggest high school within that state. Use that power to make demands for your safety. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Jay Hansen, your school board representative.
Thank you very much. I'd like to just welcome a few guests that we have here. Our County Board of Education member, Bina Lefkowitz, our two City Council members, Steve Hansen and Jay Chenier, and another fellow McClatchy graduate, Senator Steve Glazer. Thank you for joining us here today. I'm proud and inspired to be here with our student leaders. As a school board member representing this community, it is my duty to ensure all of our students are learning at the top of their potential and that they are in a safe and supportive school. In this particular time, it takes all of us to help keep that promise. Today, it's also my duty to make sure our school district is supporting and empowering our students and helping them learn the importance of their engagement and exercising their right of free speech. No American values are more important than the right of free speech, the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and the right to petition government for a redress of the grievances. Our students learned that, and there's a reason that those are enshrined in our First Amendment. So let us mourn our fallen students, and let us celebrate watching our next generation of our leaders find what it means to be an American. I'd like to welcome our next speaker, also a McClatchy graduate. We're very proud to have him as one of ours, our State Attorney General, Javier Becerra.
Jay, thank you very much to President Lambert, to Daisy, to Maya, to all the student leaders who have made this possible. I know we say to you, not just as Lions, but as people who are proud to see you step up, thank you very much for what you're doing to save the next generation of American leaders so they're ready to go out there and do things, not mourn. And so thank you for what you're doing every day. Like Steve Glazer, our state senator, I was a graduate of a few decades ago from McClatchy, and I'm proud of it. And I'm proud to be able to come to this campus anytime I can. But I'll tell you, I served 24 years in the House of Representatives. For 24 years, I did exactly what we just finished doing, moments of silence. And each and every time, there were some of us who would say, it's time to enact universal background checks, to ban bump stocks, to make sure that anyone who wishes to carry a concealed weapon has to have a permit to do so. And on each occasion, in the U.S. House of Representatives and the Congress of this country, we would come up short. California passed all those laws that we're talking about today for Congress decades ago. California has stepped to the plate. And so while today we did what a month ago many people did in mourn and stand in silence, I'll be honest with you, I think you want to do more than be silent. I think you want solutions. And so it is time for solutions. A dear friend, a colleague in Congress, a civil rights leader who was there with Martin Luther King in the 1960s, marches throughout the South, Congressman John Lewis would always tell us when we're getting ready for battle on some legislative measure, if you want to make change, you got to get in the way. And he got in the way to the point where he almost died. We got to get in the way. And so I have a message for you that I say to you as a proud McClatchy graduate, as a proud representative of our state, but as someone who had a chance to read some very poignant things in my life. I thought to myself, what can I communicate to you beyond the mourning, beyond the silence, that will convey to you how we feel about what you're doing and rising up? And I thought of that classic in literature, that I know you've read, or at some point in your life you'll read, or your children will read, if you give a mouse a cookie. Now, I know that these are serious times, but if you take a look at the deep meaning behind if you give a mouse, how many of you have read If You Give a Mouse a Cookie? I don't know how many times I read it. I have 3 daughters, and so I read it over and over and over. If you give a mouse a cookie, that mouse is going to want milk. And then if you give the mouse milk, that mouse is going to want a napkin. And if you give a mouse a napkin, he's going to want a mirror to make sure he doesn't have any milk mustache, and on and on and on, right? I think you in America are saying, we want that cookie. We want that milk. We want that napkin. We want safety for every one of our fellow classmates in school every day. We want to see those laws in America that will preserve the safety of everyone who goes into a classroom to learn, not to be afraid. We want leaders who will stand up to the NRA. We want the spirit. We want the grit. Or as we say in Spanish, we want the ganas to move forward. And so here's what I leave for you, because I see in you not silence, nor political labels, and I do want you to vote, but this is not the time for political labels or silence. This is a time for solutions. And so here's what I offer to you as someone who sees the next generation of leaders who will not let your voice be silenced, who will not let people deny you the right to safety, and who will not let people get in your way when you want safety throughout America. Here's what I have for you. I got one set here. I got one set here. Some of you like sugar cookies. I want you to eat. I don't want you to stop. And I want you to believe if you get that cookie, when you ask for the milk, you're going to get it. And when you ask, and when you vote and ask for leaders who will get the job done, you will get it. And when you decide to be the next generation of leaders for this country, you will bring safety to all the next generation of young people who, like you, expect their adult leaders to fight for them now, not later. Thank you for your fight. Thank you for standing up. These are for you. Let me now introduce to you a leader from the Board of Equalization, Fiona Ma.
Thank you to our Attorney General and all the students out here and the leadership. Every major movement starts with the people who are angry and upset about what is happening around them. In the 50s and 60s, we had the Civil Rights Movement. In the 90s, we had the women's movement with the Million Woman March. And today, you all are leading the gun reform movement. It should never happen that 56 people died going to a concert in Las Vegas. It should not have happened last week in Yountville that 3 medical professionals died in the line of duty. And should it never have happened that our 17 young students from Parkland High School are no longer here today. So I stand with you and all of your elected leaders, but we need to hold everyone accountable. Not only your elected leaders, but your corporate leaders, your nonprofit leaders, the parents, the adults that are supposed to be protecting you every single day. So like Attorney General Becerra said, don't stop here. You need to keep up the pressure. You need to continue to show up at rallies and marches and protests and let people know, government know, that enough is enough. You have the power to save lives. You are the future. Thank you all for being out here. And I'd like to introduce student teacher Jonathan Hubbard.
Hi, good morning. Thank you all for coming out, students. McClatchy, go Lions! Go Lions. I'm standing here today in solidarity with the students of Parklands, with my students, with my kids, with everyone here in California and across the nation that's celebrating a situation that should never have come about. I feel ashamed that we haven't made some movements that our elected officials have not represented their constituents adequately in this situation. This is nothing less than a crisis, and it is up to our government. It is up to our senators, our congressmen and women to represent their constituents and make change. There's obviously a public voice. Look around you. We are that public voice. We are here gathered today to make change, to create change. I came to school last week, and half of my students were gone. It was a very emotional moment for me. This is a very emotional moment for me. When my students don't feel like they can show up to campus because they could be murdered by a madman with a gun. That's unacceptable to me. It should be unacceptable to others. It should be unacceptable to our representatives in Washington. I'm glad to be part of Sac City Unified School District. We're a safe haven school district. We celebrate diversity and inclusion. And I'm proud to be a teacher at McClatchy High School. I'm proud to be a part of this movement. We are allowing student voices to be heard today, and I'm glad to have been given the chance to talk to you, but I want you to listen to our students. I want you to listen to our youth. I want you to listen to this movement. I feel that a campus is a place of love and learning. It's an atmosphere for supporting our students and growing young minds to be leaders for tomorrow. And I want that to continue. And to be able to do that, we need to have a safe space. And so this endeavor will lead us to create that change, to ensure that my 5-year-old and my 2-year-old have a safe high school in 10 to 15 years to go to. It's our time to move. It's a student time to move. It's the youth time to move. And I appreciate being allowed to speak for my students. We have licenses and extensive testings for my 15-year-old students to get a car, to drive a car. There's a license to drive a car to get from point A to point B. Why do we not have extensive testing and licenses for weapons that can murder students? Why don't we have age restrictions set in place? I can buy an AR-15, but I can't have a beer at 18? I know that politics is incremental, and I know that it takes small steps. But as a parent and teacher, I'm asking for reasonable legislation from our representatives in Washington. There must be a balance of freedoms. I respect individuals' right to bear arms, but I also respect my students' need and want for safety and security on an educational institution. A reasonable balance must be achieved, and I'm so proud to be part of this movement. I'm so proud of my students for organizing this movement. I would like you all to come out and support the March for Our Lives on the 24th. I will be there, as well as McClatchy ASB. And let's continue to have this dialogue with our representatives. Let us continue this movement until change has been made for good, for the better, for our future. Thank you all so much for coming today. I'd like to introduce Sac City Unified parent and activist, Liz Fenton.
Hi, thank you for letting us be here today. Some of the folks who have spoken here today know me as a longtime Capitol staff person, where I worked behind the scenes on public policy for elected officials. But today, I'm here out in front, and I'm standing with you, each and every one of you, as a mother, with my daughter Ellie, who's 12, my son, who's back there somewhere, who's 9. We are here in solidarity to honor the lives of the children in Parkland, Columbine, Sandy Hook, and all across the country. We are here to demand that safety become a priority and we end gun violence in our schools and communities. Why are my young children here with me today to talk about such a tragic topic? Why aren't they in their classrooms? Because they hear about this every day on the radio 5 years ago about Sandy Hook. And in my own daughter's elementary school around the corner, I had to explain why she went on lockdown when a man with a gun nearby shot their beloved police dog, Bodie. She was 7 years old. For many children across the country, bullets whizzing by them is a fact of life. No parent should worry about whether their kids will be safe when they go to school. And yes, it's traumatic, but we cannot escape it no matter where we live. I don't want to scare them, but instead I want to arm them. I want to arm them with knowledge. And I want them We're arming them with knowledge, we're arming you with knowledge. And we're teaching each and every one of you, and we're teaching them to stand up, to speak out, and say what you want to have changed. We owe you a safe place to learn. Arming teachers isn't the solution. My 9-year-old son said to me, "Mom, if teachers have guns, then they can't teach, and we're just going to be in the crossfire." What do you say to your 9-year-old son when they say that? We say, stand up, demand change, join with these kids here today, because you all are our future. We can send a strong message to Congress by supporting elected officials who want to help these kinds of tragedies in the first place. Right here in Sacramento, in this area, we have a woman, a mother, who is running for Congress. And we need to support people like that to make change. When you leave here today, just start with one thing. Send a tweet, talk to a friend, register to vote, pre-register to vote, urge a business not to sell an assault weapon, or write a letter to your elected officials. Honor the victims with action. Thoughts and prayers are not enough anymore. Thank you.
And finally, we have Sacramento Chief of Police Daniel Hahn with a few words.
Good morning. I just wanted to say this is awesome, seeing all the students coming out today and being responsible, standing up, and taking responsibility for your future. So I would just like to say thank you, McClatchy Lions. You're standing up today. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you again for coming out. You may now return to your classes back in silence, please. Thank you.